Okay, so I'll start again. Welcome, everyone. Morning. So, again, I'm going to tell you about SILKNOW, what's SILKNOW, why now, why silk, and why this kind of heritage is so important. So, who's changing the slides? Okay. So, this is actually the first question that we should ask ourselves. Why silk and why now? Well, when we think about silk heritage, we usually think about a really luxurious item related to the aristocracy, as we can see in this painting from the Renaissance. So, but, Cristina? Oh. So, well, anyway, but actually it's a very alive heritage. You can see it in this fallera costume from the 21st century. It's an intangible heritage that still connects different people, different narratives, different stories. Actually, the latest collection from Dolce & Gabbana used silk motifs, ancient silk motifs. So silk is not a thing from the past, but it's also a thing from the present. So, but when we think in silk, we also tend to think in only the fabrics, in the material objects. But actually silk is way more than that. It's also intangible heritage related to all these old weaving techniques that actually some industries are still weaving with these 19th century techniques. And also, this silk heritage is related to technology. These punch cards are part of a jacquard loom from the 19th century. So actually, this binary code was invented way more before the modern computers invented this binary code in order to storage files. Actually, the first programmer is Ada Lovelace, and she was inspired by the jacquard loom. So silk heritage is always connected to technology, to industry, to creativity, and also international exchanges. It's way much more than just a fabric. It's about connecting people, like Nokia. So and also when we think about this silk heritage, the first thing that comes in our minds is Marco Polo, you know, like the Far East route. But actually, in fact, this route, it came to Europe, but later there were a lot of city centers that used this industry, and they created a huge industry related to silk heritage. This is La Lonja in Valencia, so you can imagine how important silk was in different cities, also in Lyon actually. So, but however, even if this heritage is so important, it's in risk of disappearing. Not only because there are museums that can be lost, but also because it's a very fragile heritage. Its conservation is quite complicated. And also, the intangible heritage is in risk of disappearing. The weavers, they cannot find replacements in younger generations. So we are going to lose a really important European heritage. However, there is also a growing interest in costume and fashion. Also, actually, you can see like Google and Europeana, the greatest, the biggest players in the digital world, they are showing a lot of interest in preserving this heritage and to putting to the society. So, we can say that European history is woven in silk. Few materials have had such an important economical, technical, functional, cultural, and symbolic presence throughout our past and present. We can say that silk is the thread that unites us. It's the thread that unites memory, identities, narratives, heritage, technology, people. So it's a really important heritage that within SILKNOW we are going to preserve this heritage, but not only from the past, but we are going to bring this heritage to the future. That's why we say that in SILKNOW we are weaving our past into the future. And how are you going to do this? Well, Marcos is going to tell you how and who are we. So thank you.
I will try to explain a bit how we are going to try to do what Mar explained before. So we will start to describe a bit our consortium. Javier, please, can you pass? Next. So our consortium is formed by 9 partners from 6 different countries: Spain, France, Italy, Germany, Slovenia, and Poland. We are partnered with different profiles. We have combined universities, 3 research centers, 2 small companies, one from cycle manufacturing and other one from 3D printing, and also 1 national cultural institute. Next, please. From the University of Valencia, we have this idea a few years ago, and we have tried to combine several of the teams that are inside this university in order to support both the technological part of the project and also the cultural part. Also, the consortium has a different profile coming from ICT, arts, humanities, creative industries. And also it's important for this project the collaboration with other external institutions that are providing digital records and their catalogues, because this is one of the bases, as we will see, for the development of the project. In this case, we have been collaborating with the Museum of Decorative Arts and Design, local textile museum, ecclesiastical collection, textile companies' archives, and museums of fine arts, etc. Next, please. This project is inside the Horizon 2020 research program of the European Commission. This is a particular call that was very, very competitive. In this call, in fact, there has been a 2-stage evaluation. 139 projects were presented and only 3 were awarded. So we were very happy because this means that the idea was strong, and we have been awarded in a very competitive environment. Next, please. What we are doing in this project, or what we are in the process of doing. The objective of the project, the main objectives are 3. The first one is to have an advanced searching and semantically relating digitized European silk textile heritage based on data interoperability across different collections. This is very important. We will go on later on this. Also, from this knowledge, to being able to build in a virtual loom to clone ancient weaving techniques. And finally, to have an improvement of the understanding of the European silk heritage as a matter of making a more connected Europe. Next, please. For the first objective, the idea is that we are going not to digitize new data, but trying to go to already digitized records across Europe and try to extract information from this record, from these archives. So this is not a project about digitizing. This is a project mainly about interoperability. And we are going to work with mainly two types of information. Graphical information from image of textile, ancient textile that are in this museum collection and so on. And also, next please. And also with textual information. In the part of graphical information, image, what we are going to try to do is to look for a automatic search engine that is able from different motifs, like you see in the left part, to search related elements that are across Europe. If you see, this is what is the result from Google image search. If you see, it's not bad, but it's useless because this is a general search engine from image, so it's easily confused for similar motif. Our idea is to develop a specialized search engine around image that can take into account relative information in order to avoid false results. So the idea is not to have a general image search engine, but a textile specialized search engine. Next, please. But also we need to combine this information, this image information, with textual information. There is a lot of records, historical record about this textile in different museum and collection. So the idea is to develop an automatic engine that is able to connect all this information. And also there is the problem of languages. We are going to do this search engine in 4 different languages. So you will be able to search in a language and the system will be able to look for this term in different languages. We are going to cover English, Spanish, Italian, and French. And the idea is that we will try to overcome the problem of languages. So this is the main idea. For this, we are going to develop, or we are developing our own thesaurus, so that this will be a big difference from current system that will have, that this system will work. Next, please. The other big objective that we have told before is to have what we call a virtual loom that is able to clone ancient weaving techniques. For this, the idea is to try to extract, again, from current digitized record, the information, the inner structure of the textile. For this, in this case, we will have to go for high quality images, because from these images we need to be able to automatically process the structure, the inner structure of the system. Next one. And with this artificial intelligence techniques that will analyze these images, being able to produce a digital model of how this textile was woven. So with this model, with this digital model, we will be able to produce different outputs. So once we have the structure, we have the mathematical model of this woven, we will be able to create a 3D printing of this structure in order to explain, to teach a scholar about how this textile were woven. Also, we were able to recreate 3D virtual model and representation and simulation of how these textile are woven, to teach these techniques to other people, artisans, and so on. And also, the idea is that this model will be able to be the input for this artisan to preserve these techniques and to create new textile from these ancient techniques. Okay, next one. Finally, the general objective is to have an improvement of the understanding of the European silk heritage. In this case, our idea is to have a set of digital tools that at the end allows us to build a spatio-temporal map of the evolution of the silk industry across Europe during these the recent centuries. So in this way, people will be able to have a more connected understanding of what has meant silk in Europe and how silk has been able to make the concept of Europe being also possible nowadays. So finally, the target user and the user that will be having an important impact from this result will be the one that you have on the right. Cultural heritage institutions like galleries, museums, and so on will be able to improve its ICT elements to preserve the records and the information they have. The education sector will also be able to produce material in different languages to preserve and educate in this sector. The ICT sector also will be impacted in the sense that we will be able to develop new artificial intelligence techniques for image searching and contextual analysis searching. Also, textile and creative industry will have an impact because with this new information, they will be able probably to reuse models and reuse technique to create new products and new market niche. Tourism sector also should be impacted in the way that probably museum and collection will have a much more understandable information and a much more dynamic information about this sector when a museum is visited. In the area of policymaker, the idea is also they can use this to reinforce the idea of a connected Europe across the centuries. And also journalists will be able to have a way to look information that connect ancient objects with nowadays objects and elements of culture. And this is more or less the idea around this project. Thank you.